Suzuki have done a good job with this one. They haven't just, released a bike and haven't thought about it. They've actually put a bit of work into the design, ergonomics, the market it falls into. I'm not sure if it's a sports bike, a naked bike with a fairing, or what. It's pretty good. I got to say, it's pretty good. I was really surprised at how good it was for that price. I mean, that's a good buy.
G'day folks, welcome back to another episode of Bike Chats. I'm here with Alex Cudlin and we have been riding the Suzuki GSX8R all morning. We're here at Grey Gum Cafe. What a great spot. Can you tell me, what do you think of this bike?
Mate, I think it's great. It's a really good bike. Pleasantly surprised, happy with the feel of it, and Suzuki have done a good job with this one.
Yep. And who would you say this bike is aimed at, really, like in the market, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's a sports bike, but it's more of a street bike. In other words, it's more comfortable. A lot of the sports bikes nowadays are designed about being on the racetrack, and they're not quite that comfortable when you're on the road. Don't forget, this is a bike that you can ride on the road. We do a tour in Tasmania, for example, and we had one last year where a lot of guys came on sports bikes, and the main complaint at the end of the day was how sore their shoulders were and their neck and how their bum was sore after sitting on that bike. And
I felt that.
I remember following them with their, they'd be riding down the road with their legs out nice and straight and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So with this bike, what Suzuki have done they've kept that sports bike feel about it, but they've made it a bit more ergonomic in terms of, higher handlebars, foot pegs slightly lower, and a bit more space inside the cockpit, so it's a bit easier to ride. It's one of those bikes where you could, go up the putty road like we've done today, but also ride it from here to Phillip Island for the GP and be relatively comfortable.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I was watching you today and, and I've ridden it myself, but just, you can see yourself throwing a set of saddlebags over it, taking it to, to Eastern Creek or somewhere to a track and really enjoy it, and
I'm pretty tall for a motorbike racer. If you walk around the racetrack, a lot of the guys are really small, and so I think in Japan, when they design a motorbike, they must design it around a small Japanese guy, because the sports bikes are always, for me, were always so cramped, And I noticed when we run our tours that the guys on pure sports bikes really have a hard time, actually. Their knees are cramped up. Every 5 minutes they're shaking their hands out from pins and needles and that sort of thing, standing up on the pegs to get some weight off the bum and that sort of stuff, So ergonomics wise, they've actually designed it for someone a bit taller, I think, So maybe their test rider in Japan was a European or something, because they've thought about a few key areas which is important for comfort when you're riding on the road. The first thing is the handlebars, So a pure sports bike, the handlebars are really low. And so what happens is, because they're so low, it puts a lot of weight on your wrist. It's okay when you're on the racetrack, but even in racetrack sense, you see riders with arm pump issues and stuff. So they've raised the handlebars maybe 20 mil or something, and it's just enough to get the weight off without it feeling like an adventure bike as well, So that makes it nicer to ride.
Can you pinpoint an age bracket as well, or is it?
Well, I mean, it all depends on the styling and of everyone, everyone's different, but, it's not a young person, it's not an old person. It fits quite a big mould, actually, of riders. It's good for, you want to go on the twisty roads, it's comfortable to do that, but it's still sporty enough where you can, have a fang on the dirt, on the tar and enjoy it. So it's quite versatile. The things with Suzuki is they're really good with the way they build their bikes. They look at a broad range of riders. With this one, as you know, Suzuki are great mechanically, reliability and that sort of thing with the Suzuki engines are good. It's got a really sweet gearbox on it,
I could hear you clicking up that as we were filming.
It's got a quick shifter there, and so Suzuki have, I don't know why, I don't know how, but it just seems to me like they're able to nail that gearbox. They've got they've got that really nice, and it's like just, you know, when you select the gears, it's smooth, and yeah, it's a nice bike.
Yeah, we were saying that as we were watching you kind of just go up that hill and then hitting that corner, and you could just hear with that, because it's got the Akrapovic exhaust on it as well.
Nice pop to it, doesn't it? With the quick shifter, it's like a gunshot going off when you change gears. It truly is. Yeah, especially when you're riding it as well, mate. Yeah. Another thing about it as well is we don't usually talk price on bike chats, but it is so affordable. Like they're 15 grand right away, and that's at the time obviously of release. But I think that is definitely something that will fit into. It kind of fits in that Aprilia Tuono sort of market, that sort of mold. And I don't know what the prices are of all those bikes, but mate, for 15 grand, that is a pretty good buy, you know. And there's obviously, everyone likes their little things here and there, but for an all-rounder for 15 grand, it's pretty sweet. Yeah. What's surprising is that where they've placed the mirrors are out really wide. And that's unusual for a sports bike. They're normally tiny. Issue is with a lot of the mirrors on the sports bikes is all you're doing is looking at your shoulder the whole day, you know. And head check becomes your best friend because you haven't actually got mirrors there. With these ones, the mirrors hang out a long way and they don't look funny. They're stylish and stuff, but you can see a fair bit behind you. So that's obviously, from a safety point of view on the road, we're not talking racetrack here, we're talking on the road. That's important to be able to see what's behind you. The last thing I like about this bike is the position of the foot pegs. My issue, being a bit taller, is that the bend in my knee is always really sort of a big bend when I ride a pure sports bike. Sort of, you know, the relationship between your foot, your knee and your hip is in an awkward position for me. But with this one, it's a bit more comfortable. They've kind of lowered the pegs a bit, but they're a little bit more forward than a traditional rear set that you get on a superbike. Obviously, rear sets on superbikes are designed to bring your legs back a little bit so you can carry more lean angle. We're comparing a race bike and a sports bike on the street, and so a sports bike like this, a bit more comfortable, you know? So they're the three key areas. The actual seating position's pretty good. The tank's pretty small, it feels like. I don't know the actual literage size of the tank, but you're able to wrap around it pretty well. And so when you're changing direction from left to right, it's easy to get over from one side to the other. It's not a big tank where you've got to really work your weight to get it across. Yeah, it's quite good.
Can you see yourself customising it at all?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything?
Yep. I mean, the first thing you do is put a pipe on, right? Yeah, because you do that on every motorbike, don't you? They just sound better.
And that Akrapovic sounded,
I
keep saying it, but it sounded so good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're into really, and styling and stuff. One thing I did like about this one is the dashboard actually. It's something that a lot of people probably overlook, but some dashboards are actually hard to read. And so when you ride along, it's hard to work out. They've got so much information on the dash, you can't actually work out what it's saying. With this one, it's a bit more basic. There's the mode button for your traction control, 3 levels and off, you know, so you've got a few options there. I turned it off on that section just because it was a bit more fun. It looks like it's got 3 different power mode, like engine management modes. I didn't touch that actually, I just left that on 1. So yeah, the dash is pretty clear. You can, you know, you got your speed, your temperature, your fuel gauge and your modes. Versatile, easy. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it really is a good package. It does come in 3 colours. Like we've got the two, the silver and yellow, and it comes in.
Silver's the one I like.
Yeah, you like the silver? Yeah. They've got that blue as well, which is the
traditional Suzuki.
Now, can you let everyone know of your resume? You know, you've done a lot of racing in your time. We've actually done a video with your brother as well, Damien, and you both have raced since you were kids. So what kind of racing have you done? And it has been on Suzuki's, hasn't it?
Yeah. I've ridden for all the brands really. Whoever paid me the most is who I went for, to be honest. But yeah, my background is I raced superbikes for a long time in Europe in the Endurance World Championship. So events like Le Mans 24-hour and Suzuki 8R in Japan. So, you know, I had a lot of success with Suzuki actually on the GSX-8R 1000 in the endurance series. You know, I was able to win the championship there a couple of times, and I didn't just ride for them, I rode for the other brands, Kawasaki as well. But my background is I spent 15 years in Europe racing superbikes.
Yeah, well.
Nowadays, I don't do that so much. I don't ride on the sports bikes hardly at all, to be honest. I'm more of an adventure type rider. I'm on the dirt more than tar.
So was this one of the first road bikes you've ridden in a while, or you?
Yeah, it has been actually. It's funny when you ride an adventure bike. They're fantastic on the dirt, and they're pretty good on the tar. But it's nice to just get on one that, you know, it just turns a bit quicker and it stops a bit better, accelerates a bit better than the old adventure bike. So I started thinking when I was riding there before, I wonder if I could do a track day on this. You know? I haven't been to the track in a while, but
I'm sure we
started to bring back feelings.
We can make that happen. Maybe it'll be episode 2 of the GSX8R.
That's right.
We'll be sitting in front of Eastern Creek or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Now, you mentioned before also that you were doing a tour in Tasmania in your company Aussie Bike or Hike.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that and what you do?
So our business now, I started at roughly about 6 or 7 years ago, and at the time was just to run some motorbike tours on the weekend for the various punter around, you know, New South Wales. 7 years down the line, the business has expanded quite a bit, and we've found our little niche there in the market with motorbike tours. We added in bicycle tours, we added in hiking tours, hence the name Aussie Bike or Hike, you know.
Not hire.
Yeah, exactly. And now we run tours in about 6 or 7 different countries around the world. And we do dirt bike tours, we do adventure tours, we do tarmac tours, you know. So we look after the customer from the day they arrive at our doorstep till the end, you know. So we have trips in all over Australia. We just got back from Tasmania. I have trips in India. We ride across the Himalayas and all that sort of thing, and out in Peru across the Andes Mountains, you know. So we vary the riding. It's dirt sometimes, it's tar sometimes. So it's pretty good job, I've got to say. It's pretty good.
Now let's talk about the Japanese elephant in the room, the almighty engine in this bike. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Suzuki are renowned for having good, reliable engines. That's why we were successful in the Endurance World Championship for a lot of years, was because that engine never stops, you know. And
not your skill.
Well, depends who you ask. But so obviously that DNA goes across to these kind of bikes when they produce it, you know. This particular one is a good concept because it's an inline, but it's only a twin. It's not a 4-cylinder like you get in the, you know, the GSX-8R 1000, things like that. So the beauty of this type of motor is that because it's only 2 cylinders, it's a lot more narrow than your traditional inline 4. And being that it's narrow, it reduces weight. You know, so they've still got some big pistons in there and stuff to create the CC and all that, but they've designed it to be pretty narrow, and it feels it too. When you ride it, you change direction on it and that sort of thing. It feels quite narrow to turn. You know, that's nice. It's really torquey too. So a lot of inline 4s, you find that the power is at the top end of the range, which is fantastic on a racetrack because you're always at the top end of the range. But it does make it a bit hard to ride on the street, whereas this here, the power is at, you know, down lower, so it creates a lot of torque. So it's punchy enough to pull a wheelie here and there in front of your mates when you want to. It gets out of the turns well, but it doesn't have that heavy feel that you sometimes get in a superbike.
All right, mate, well, thank you very much. This has been a fantastic day riding this awesome bike. I cannot wait for episode 2. We're going to hit the track and take this out,
that'd
or
be fun.
we go and do a tour.
Maybe
take this to India.
Give me a call, you got my number, you know where to find me.
Well, thank you very much, mate, and
Thanks,
we'll
mate.
see you on the next episode of Bike Chats. Yeah. So you want me down the bottom there and then filming up, and then he's...
And then he just pops in. See that view you got there?
Yeah.
Like, there's